Welcome into Seahawks Today, and make sure that you go in and smash that thumbs up button because your Seattle Seahawks are now the leaders in the NFC West. You and I love the Seahawks. We love when they're doing well. So go on in, smash that like button for your Seattle Seahawks because they are now leading the NFC West despite being on a bye week. And look, how did Seattle get into that first place spot? Well, you got a little bit lucky. You just hate to see it as a Seahawks fan. Dripping with sarcasm was that statement when the San Francisco 49ers are unable to get it done. Their luck finally ran out. They played the Houston Texans, a team that you just took out behind the woodshed and really beat up on. 49ers lost to them 26-15 in Week 8. So as we look right now at that NFC West standings, your Seattle Seahawks are tied for first place with the Los Angeles Rams, but because the Rams have a losing record in the division right now and your Seahawks have a 5-5 record in the division, 500 record, they are now at the top of the NFC West. The San Francisco 49ers, they don't have their bye week until much later. They are in that third place spot, and then the Arizona Cardinals are way down at the bottom. This is important to know because the Seahawks now officially control their own destiny when it comes to the NFC West division winner. What do I mean by that? I mean that if the Seahawks go through and they win every single football game the rest of the way, even if the Rams and the 49ers did the same, wouldn't be possible because, well, the Seahawks play the Rams twice and they play the 49ers one more time, they would be the top team in the NFC. It's a three-team race. I think when you look at the standings, again, you can just eliminate Arizona. They're not going to be there. They're not going to be a part of it. So it's Rams, it's 49ers, it's Seahawks. And so we're going to dive in this video with the remaining schedule for all three teams. Seahawks and Rams have 10 games left. 49ers, because they have their bye week, they only have 9 games left. And we are going to see which team has the easier path, which team has a couple of difficult road tests, and can your Seattle Seahawks come out on top and win the NFC West. As we look, we're first going to take a dive into the 49ers schedule. They are going to play against the Giants on the road. That game just got easier because of Cam Scadaboo's injury, unfortunately. They're going to play the Rams. That was a back-and-forth affair, and the 49ers have gotten even more injured. That could be a close one. Cardinals, they're going to blow them out. That's not even going to be a problem. Carolina isn't great. Cleveland, they're horrific. Bye week because every other NFC West team was on a bye this week except for the 49ers. They get theirs much later. Tennessee Titans off of the bye week. They're going to smoke them, absolutely crush. Colts are pretty good. Bears, we'll see where they're at once we get to that point. And then, of course, they're going to be at home against your Seattle Seahawks. When I look at the 49ers schedule, personally, compared to the other two teams that we're going to be talking about, the Rams and your Seahawks, they have the easiest schedule left. When you look at some of the teams they have to play, like the Carolina Panthers are a joke. The Tennessee Titans are horrific. They've already fired a coach. The Cleveland Browns, they might be on Shedeur Sanders at that point. I mean, shoot, they might not even have their head coach. Like, you go down the list of who the 49ers still have to play, and they have less teams in the division that they have to play. It is, objectively, the easiest schedule of the three. Now, here's the silver lining, at least for Seahawk fans. They're the most injured team. When you go down their roster, Nick Bosa, done for the year. Fred Warner, done for the year. Brock Purdy has been in and out of the lineup. Mac Jones has been playing extremely well, but everybody else in that crew, except for Christian McCaffrey, just continues to get hurt and hurt and hurt. CMC, even with the amount of touches that he's been taking, I don't know if he's going to be able to go through this entire workload. So while their schedule might be the easiest, they are also the most susceptible to be snake bitten and to get beat by teams that maybe it would be a closer game if it would have been earlier in the season back when everybody was healthy. Now we're going to dive into the Rams schedule here. You can see it's not like it is, again, the most difficult schedule of all time. They're playing the New Orleans Saints. That's a W. At the San Francisco 49ers, I wouldn't be shocked if they take that one after how close the last game was. Now, the nice thing is for the Seahawks, they have a very, very, very difficult game against you guys because you go San Francisco 49ers, Seahawks, and then Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a gauntlet of a 3-game stretch there. You might be able to get an easier than normal victory over the LA Rams. Carolina Panthers, not very good. Cardinals, not very good. Detroit Lions, obviously Still one of the top teams in the NFC. Going to play your Seattle Seahawks again, wrapping it up with the Falcons and the Arizona Cardinals. In my eyes, this is the most difficult schedule. You have to play the Detroit Lions. You have to play the Seahawks twice. You have to play San Francisco still. And you're going to have to go through a litany of other teams that might be able to come up and sneak attack you, right? They might be able to get a couple on you. Now, it isn't the cakewalk, easy schedule in the past that you've seen, the Rams kind of get away with. They're also going to be getting healthier. Puka Nacua is going to come back for Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford has looked like he almost went back to the fountain of youth. Whatever they were doing in that RV in training camp got him right and got him rocking and rolling. But I do think that there are going to be multiple games in there that the LA Rams lose where you look at it at the beginning of the week and you say, yeah, the Rams should lose that game. That's a difficult game. That is a hard game, and the Seahawks are going to have to take advantage of those opportunities when the Rams play a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like the San Francisco 49ers, like the Detroit Lions. And then, of course, since you get them twice, if you handle your own business, that's going to be 2 games up on the Rams by itself. Now we're going to look at your Seattle Seahawks schedule. It is, I would say, the medium of the 3 schedules. You got the Washington Commanders. No word yet on if Jaden Daniels is going to be good and ready to go for that game. I would expect him to play, but no official word. Arizona Cardinals, again, free fall, dumpster fire. Rams game is going to be huge. Titans, they're horrific. Not very good at all. I have no idea what's going on in Minnesota. Carson Wentz has showed times where he's looked really freaking good. He's also showed times where he looks really freaking bad. Do they go back to J.J. McCarthy at that point? I don't know. The Atlanta Falcons. Our chat sports host for the Falcons, Moose, came in today and said, we need to fire everybody. Doesn't sound like it's going too well in the ATL. The Indianapolis Colts, obviously, they're better than everyone kind of expected. That'll be a difficult game. And you go into that gauntlet of a little 2-game stretch there, taking on the Rams again. Have to win that one at home, avenge the loss from the previous year. Carolina Panthers, still don't think they're that good. You should be able to take control of that one, get a victory there. And then at the San Francisco 49ers, who knows what the 49ers are going to be at that point. I think the Seahawks have the nicest little mix here. And what do I mean by that? You don't have a cakewalk easy schedule, so you don't get tested anymore. But you also don't have a schedule where it's a bunch of gauntlets, right? Like we looked at that Rams schedule. They have 3 games back to back to back where it's like, whoa, that's a good test. That's a good schedule. Where when you look at the Seahawks, it's like, yeah, they play the Rams, but then they play, an easier team. Yeah, they play the Colts, but then they get the Carolina Panthers, right? It's a nice, easy mix of, hey, you got some tough games, then you get some games where you can get healthy, you can get right. Then you also have some teams in there where it's like, I don't know who's going to be playing for them. And if you're at a point where everyone's kind of putting their hands up, going, I don't know who's going to be playing for you, can you really trust that team to be good, rocking and rolling by the end of this season and maybe sneak up and beat your Seahawks? I just don't see it. Now, here's the question. Can the Seahawks actually get it done? Obviously, I'm a little bit biased towards my team. I'm going to be hyping them up more than maybe the average person, maybe the average expert. Yes, I think the Seahawks can get it done, and I'll make sure that I go through those for you. But before I do that, I do want to ask you a question. Do you think that the Seahawks can win the NFC West? Yes or no? I think your Seahawks are going to be able to come in. They're going to be able to win the West. But I do think that there are some haters in the chat that might say no. Let me know what your comments are down below. And then if you are a hater, let's have a conversation. You tell me why the Seahawks can't make it to the postseason. You tell me why the Seahawks can't win the NFC West, and I'll tell you why I think that they can. Before we do that, though, I want to make sure that you know that this episode is brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on any 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you can cash in. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks does not hit. PrizePicks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off, which ones are overhyped. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on PrizePicks. For the Monday night action, I got a 2-pick power play. Marcus Mariota, less on his passing yards. Patrick Mahomes, Sorry, same deal. Less on his passing yards as well. I love both defenses in that one. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Boy, is it good to be right. Now, I told you that I believe your Seattle Seahawks can win the NFC West, and especially they will be able to do it if these three things happen. What most people don't realize with the Seahawks is just how well this offense has played above the expectation, right? Now, the running game hasn't been perfect, but the way you've been able to play over that expected rate is because of how well your quarterback in Sam Darnold has played. There was a lot of conversation last year of, hey, he did well at the beginning in Minnesota, but would he be able to continue that stellar play? Would he be able to stay up on top? Because we saw those last two games in Minnesota not go his way. And Sam Darnold in Seattle is looking like a top 10, top 8 quarterback in the NFL. I mean, right now, for most of the year, he's been over 70% completion. This just went down below it after that game against the Houston Texans. Yardage number is incredible. Right now, he's going to come back that week 9 game against the Washington Commanders. He'll have 2,000 yards already, on pace to have over 4,000 if my math is correct. The passing touchdowns is at a pretty good rate as well, so don't be shocked if you continue to see him basically throw 2 to 3 touchdowns for every interception. And shoot, I can really only think of one interception right now where I really blame Sam Darnold. I mean, that play by Jalen Ramsey was just a horrific throw by Sam Darnold. He throws it behind Cooper Kupp, leaves it easy for that ball to be picked off. The rest of the way, I think that the defensive players have made some incredible plays, and one ball just flukily went off a guy's helmet. I think that if Sam Darnold continues to play at this rate, you are going to see your Seattle Seahawks being very excited and winning that NFC West, saying, hey, it's not good enough just to have one game at home. You need to continue to push forward and have multiple home playoff games. The second thing that I think needs to happen for your Seahawks to win is actually that running game improving. We kind of went into this year expecting it to be a 50-50, 60-40 split and be more so towards that rushing attack. We were expecting Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet to really spearhead this offense and make things easier for Sam Darnold, not the other way around, and that's the way that it has been. Now, to be fair, when you look at both Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, I wouldn't say that their stats are the true blue test of where they're at. Like, I look at Charbonnet right now, averaging less than 3 yards a rush. Well, you have to remember, most of his carries are in the low red zone. They are on the goal line. It's why he has so many touchdowns, but it's also why his average sucks. Because sometimes Zach Charbonnet is running into a, 8-man in the box situation defensively. He's getting hit right at the line of scrimmage, fighting forward to get 2 yards, but we only need him to get 2 yards because he's getting into the end zone. Kenneth Walker, on the other hand, has had these big flashes of games where he has a ton of rushing yards, or he has, 2 or 3 big clips where he runs for a 30-yard gain or a 20-yard gain a couple of times. But what I want to see from Kenneth Walker is more sustained success. And I think he's going to find that once fullback Robbie Oots does come back off of IR. That should be coming back pretty quickly. If it isn't this week, it will be later on in the back half of this season. Should be back by week 10. But if this rushing attack can really get going behind the offensive line, behind Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, watch the hell out. This team is going to be special. Last, and actually the most important, your Seattle Seahawks have got to stay healthy. We cannot have any more injuries offensively or defensively. Now, I understand that injuries are part of the game. They happen, man. It's something that you have to fight through. But I feel like the Seattle Seahawks have had to fight through more injuries than most teams. I mean, shoot, you just look at the key injuries on the defense right now. It's brutal. Devin Witherspoon has missed a lot of time. Julian Love has missed a lot of time. This cannot happen anymore. You can't have a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence miss a game or two. Imagine what happens to that linebacking unit if Ernest Jones misses some time. You need to find a way to stay healthy. I don't know if that means less hitting. I don't know if that means finding a way to get in the cold tub. Maybe you're taking more veteran days so that way you can rest up and be ready to go. But the way that this offense and defense have been rolling, I still think there's rooms for improvement, but you are some of the best units in the NFL, and I haven't even talked about the special teams unit, which has been absolutely fantastic. But you have to stay healthy. We have seen One key injury to the wrong person in the wrong position as well absolutely derail a team. Cannot let that happen. No more key injuries for the defense or, frankly, this team as a whole. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We got Seahawks content coming out every single day. You do not want to miss. Seahawks are about to go on a run, not only win the NFC West, but I'm going to predict them to win at least a couple of playoff games as well. Who knows? Maybe we'll be talking to you from Santa Clara about something special in the middle to end of February. I hope so. You don't want to miss out on that. So subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys later.